Hello YouTube. We're going to be taking a look at a replay today from one of my students called Barca. He's playing as the French versus Order of the Dragon. He's about, I would say, Diamond 2 to 3-ish, sitting at Diamond 1 right now, but with an MMR of pretty much Conqueror 1 actually, 1400 elo, so he's kind of, he's fluctuating in that bracket right now, and he wanted me to take a look at this replay. And it is French versus Order of the Dragons, so it is a pretty, I would say, not too easy matchup for French, but it can be played in a multitude of ways, depending on how the game goes. So let's just start by taking a look at the early game here. The placement of the buildings are good. We're looking at a house placement here that's inside the TC range, probably a little bit to the side, could maybe be closer to the mining camp. We see our opponents spawn. This is very important when we talk about second town centers and stuff, because Order of the Dragon can play this also differently depending on the style that they want to go for. In terms of our opener, I don't really see any Pro Scout coming out here or anything. I don't see any Wheelbarrow. I don't see any Deer opener. It makes me wonder, what are we just playing some standard fast feudal into like a knight super early, or are we going to actually move out to the deer, which seems to be kind of the meta right now? If so, then there's a problem with the scouting pattern. If you do want to move out for the deer as the first thing, as the French, which is what you're going to be doing in many of your games, you want to do like a loop around your base probably first, and then see, okay, where are the deers here? They're both in the back together with gold. That's really nice, and it's also pretty easily wallable. So this is a very safe deer pack to move for. I would just go out here with 5 villagers immediately and then take this deer pack. But that's not what you're doing, so that's besides the point. It seems that you want to age up in a more slow fashion here. And now you're putting 5 to gold. A little bit of a... I don't know. That's fine. Putting 5 to gold. That's going to make you float gold. That's for sure. If you put 5 to gold this early, you will for sure float. And you will not be able to produce knights early. What you can do is you can leave 3 on gold and then just rally to food and then age up with 5 and then take the 5 villagers to wood when you're aged up. Build a house and a lumber camp because you have 75 wood. And then you will float enough gold to make 3 knights non-stop, and then you can't make knights non-stop anymore. And then you pull more villagers over to gold. If you put this many villagers on gold early, you have to take like upgrades or something, and I don't see any buildings besides the mining camp where you could take those upgrades. Okay, so we returned. We did find our deer actually. They just haven't shown up on our minimap, but we kind of know where they are if we have paid attention. So if you're still looking for the deer out here with your scout and stuff, then you would check the border edges here of your map and then see where your resources are, because they don't always show up, right? And the same thing for your opponent, right? So you could take a look. Okay, is he on deer yet? No, he's not. So there's definitely some tricks there in the early game that you can do. The problem with this opener, I feel, is we're floating gold, but it's also that we're just not getting as many resources here in the early feudal age as we could have been. And the reason that we should be going for that is because it'll just lead to like a much faster unit production in general. But you age up here 350, and it seems you're able to make 1 knight instantly and have 170 gold in bank. I think that's 170 gold is pretty redundant, and we could have probably aged up a little bit quicker and then got the knight out maybe like 15 seconds earlier. 10 seconds probably. I have a build on my YouTube from a long time ago where I do it in 340. It's a Luciferan build I copied. And it's 340, 1 knight, 2nd knight, 3rd knight, and then 2 more to gold. So it's pretty straightforward that way. So now we definitely want to scout. We want to see, okay, there's no gold being gathered, so now we can reduce it to, he's probably making units, so he's going 2nd TC. He put the chapel here on the waterline, doesn't really tell us much. So now we need to straight beeline for this stone here, so we can see, okay, he's going to go for that 2nd townsend. And we have guard vision right now, so we can tell he's doing it, but we haven't actually seen the stone yet, so that's a bit of an issue. So I would expect this knight to just go straight for it, or out on the deer or something. So let's see if you find anything. You can click the stone now. You see that he has gathered enough stone for the 2nd town center. And if you see any of the deer being pushed around, then he's probably out here. A little bit of a bad pathing here into the town center fire. That's never a good idea. So we know that he's not going to be out here, first of all, because you're French and he knows you're going to make a knight. Second of all, because the deers didn't move, right? So he can only be in the back of his base right now. So that's something to keep in mind here. Now, you keep wanting to pick off villagers here in the woodline, but keep in mind these are Order of the Dragon villagers. You're going to have to 4 hit them, maybe 5 hit them with your knight without a charge. And so you're just going to take a lot of damage here, and you can't actually afford that because you need that health. Chivalry is not something you want to get right now. Like you could in theory get it very early, but it's just better to keep your knight healthy and just pick off units that you actually can pick off. Age of Empires 4 is a very difficult game because there's so many defensive bonuses, and town centers have homing missiles, and every unit has homing missiles. So it's a bit tough when it comes to harassing early, because you're just always going to take damage. It's not like in Age of Empires 2 where you can micro out of it. You're always going to take damage. So now you're doing the right thing, right? You come in, and then you do some charge damage, and then you get out again. And then you add another knight and another knight. And now you have to get an archer range, because he has to add spearmen. So this begs the question, okay, we need to take a look at the macro first, but this begs the question, why are we getting a blacksmith? We never go blacksmith second. The first building is going to be a school of cavalry. The second building should either be a stable or an archer range. If it's the second building is the blacksmith, you're only going to have 3 units to upgrade, and these units don't need upgrades right now. Adding another unit would be much better. If you're looking for a damage upgrade here and get that +1 free upgrade, that's going to give you 3 more damage, but adding another knight is going to give you another 19. So it's like, the logic applied here should be, I need to get a second building so I can immediately kill his follow-up, which would be spearmen. And so he's making a barrack right now. If we have archers already at that point, we can full idle this woodline. And then maybe we can even make a tower push down here to block his gold. And then we can do any kind of other play after that. But if we are going to go second stable now, or if we were going blacksmith now, I would say those are wrong choices, in the sense that you cannot fight his spears, and then you lose grip over his woodline here, which you have done a fine job so far. Attacking, but you definitely need to consider how am I gonna deal with the spearmen. And these are Order of the Dragon spearmen. You don't want your knights to touch them. If it were normal spearmen, yes, you could go second stable and just kill them in small groups, but you need those archers. You need the hard counters always when you play against Order of the Dragon. That's kind of an important thing. Like, you can't fight Order of the Dragon with soft counters like knights into spears. I wouldn't really say it's a soft counter, but it kind of is, because they can still kill small numbers of spears. Knights can kill anything. You need those archers. So blacksmith should be your 3rd or 4th building. So you go stable, archer range, blacksmith probably, or stable, archer range, blacksmith, or something like that, or stable, archer range, blacksmith. And that's a really good benefactor there from the blacksmith, right? You can benefit a lot from those upgrades. I'm a little bit... I wouldn't say disappointed, but I'm a little bit curious why you didn't go to the deer. You definitely see them, and I think it's just a scouting issue at this point. You've only found 1 boar. You've only found... you haven't found any of your deers, but you found everything in your opponent's base. Next time, scout around your base. Make sure you know where your resources are, because going out to berries now is going to hurt you too much. I don't know where these vills are going. They're probably just looking for the deer. Now you're attacking again here. That's good. Yeah, so you were looking for the deer, and you can't find them. This is like, this should never happen. Always make moves that you kind of know what's gonna happen. Like, this is just a classic, like, issue in, like, lower levels, where it's like, okay, I didn't scout properly, so now I'm gonna make up for it by using villagers, and now you're just losing 5 times 40 resources, so that would be 200 resources per minute, and you're probably been running here for, like, 30 seconds already. You've lost so many resources. Maybe a whole night. Maybe the 2-3 archers, that's gonna make you able to go here. So this is a massive mistake. I would never do this again if I was you. Always just scout normally. Like, your scout's even running with the vills. Worst case scenario, you take the berries and then you wait until you've found the deer. Which you've been able to see this whole time. So, don't rely too much on the minimap. Like, it's nice, but it's actually kind of bad if you don't know that this can happen. You need to find, like, the spawn point, or the spawn, whatever, the tile that the deer counts as. And then that's the tile that's going to make it show up on the minimap. So if you've only if you found like scattered around this deer pack and then you didn't see this part of the deer pack, then you won't find all of them. I believe that's also the reason, I might be wrong, but I believe that's also the reason why if you pull a boar away from its starting location, it disappears off the map. So just keep that in mind. If boars start disappearing off the map, it's because somebody has taken them. They might just still be there with their model and everything. Alright. So, okay, so what's happening? Well, we're still floating a lot of resources. We're not really able to spend anything because the chivalry upgrade is so long. It takes so much time to get the chivalry upgrade. And now you have all of these villagers moving at once out to this deer pack. I don't understand why we make the tower. We should just get textiles, because then we're fine against the raid. It's nice to move out like this and get a tower in general, because then you can house your villas and then everything will be fine. But you don't even have your second production building, so you're going to float a lot now. Now, if you're trying to fast castle and go to like a sacred site thing versus second TC, sure, then this is okay. I like what you're doing. Then it's 5 knights harassing with chivalry. And if you never lose those knights, I mean, you're not going to be able to do anything anymore because you don't have your archers. I think you should have made those archers and be trying to lock down your opponent's gold or something. If you're not going to do that, just have the archers and knights together. And yeah, I mean, the tower just doesn't seem like it's that important. You haven't scouted the stable or anything. And we could also just wall here and it would cost the same thing. And we were down here before, and we moved those vills up to the deer afterwards. That's a massive amount of idle time. Better to just be on those berries after you did the whole ring around the rosy here. Like, just wall this up, gather these berries. It's fine. You're going to gather them at some point anyways. So it's too much idle time, and it really cuts into your H3 timing that you're trying to go for here. So, like, you could have probably aged out a whole minute earlier had you just looked here and had you just taken those berries immediately when you didn't see where your deer were. So, yeah. Lots of mistakes here in the early feudal age macro, I would say. And it's all tied into scouting. Okay, so this scout here is doing nothing. Just put it together with your knights. I always recommend lower level players to just raid with one big group. You don't need to do any like multi-pronged attack or something. It's definitely good to do that at some point when you hit like Conqueror 3, but you're just not at that level yet sitting in this diamond bracket. So, just remember, like, it's totally okay to just have one raiding group. AoE4 is like, it's so much more depending on unit counters than micro. So just the fact that you have 5 knights together can really do a lot of damage. But he's also starting to get a lot of units right. He has 7 spears, one horseman. We don't know that, and that's also because we don't have the scout with us. So this scout should just be in the group immediately. You should have a select all cavalry hotkey, and then just hotkey it to your knights. Now you're getting your ranged armor, but you can't dive because he has spearmen. Now you want to do a multi-pronged attack, but you don't really see if you can actually charge in or anything because you don't have a scout there. And now you're doing this wall anyway, so that was more idle time. Going back to the position that you already had vills in, that you then evacuated up here. So there's just so many things, and now this horseman here is going to come in. If he was aware that he would kill the villager as well. So that stable came out of nowhere. We didn't know it was going to happen. For all we knew, he was going to go fast castle. But it seems we could have had pretty much the same castle age timing had he just stuck with 3 spears and the 1 horseman. So now you're going to go monastery. You got guild hall ticking. Guild hall's always nice. It's a good landmark, good default landmark. I would really like for you to take textiles next time. I think textiles is always a good upgrade to get. And you've always had the gold in this game, so just take textiles when you start going out on the map. That's gonna help you a lot. And you lose 1 villager for it. Actually, it's lower. It's faster to produce because of French TZ time. So it's actually 17 seconds. So you lose 1 vill. You don't even lose a little bit more. You lose 1 villager. So that's fine. And now you go into triple stable. Is this a triple stable situation? I don't think so. I think you can keep production out of your main stable. That's nice. And then you get a second stable. And then you need to go double arch range. I don't really see a case pretty much ever for playing triple stable. Okay, wait, it is an arch range. Oh, I think I saw 3 stables. Maybe it was wrong. You pretty much always want to have your first 4 production buildings be double stable and double archer range in any kind of order. Now it's always going to be school of cavalry first, but then it should be stable or archer range into stable archer range. Okay, we're building our keep towards the back here. In terms of base layout, I would like these houses to be probably more towards the back, and then have the monastery towards the back, and then have the keep go up here at the front, because it would then protect both of your woodlands. If you put it in the back like this, it's going to be fine, but it's not going to be too impactful. Now you're patrolling the deers, and he hasn't taken any of the deer, so he's probably just farming. Yeah, that would be good to scout. We want to know that he's just farming, because then it changes the game completely. It means that now you can't play rest denial anymore. It means that now you have to understand that you have to kill this guy when he moves out of his base, and you have to force that with sacred sites, or you have to do a big siege push into his base, because the longer the game goes, the better for him. At some point, he will not run out of food when you do. And so you don't have a kill timing anymore. The kill timing is gone. It won't be there. So keep that in mind, that he's a lot weaker early. We were not able to do anything about it because he was making spears and we weren't making archers. So he was just allowed to gather all the wood he wanted for these farms. And so because we allowed him to gather all this wood that he wanted, then you can't do your follow-up and take out his deer. If you start thinking about the game that way, that you can push his economy so that he's not allowed to do these plays, then all of a sudden, your next step, your next attack, all of the things that we always talk about, all those types of timings that we think we have, well, they will disappear if you don't do these things. So it's important that you do that archery and follow-up, that you do that pressure, and not just go like 5 Knights Chivalry into Castle Age, because it doesn't work against 2GC Order of the Dragon. That might work against other civs, but not in this case. Maybe it works against English, but you need your hard counters, and you need to have seen this as well. So just a lack in general of a scout here has hurt you so much. You have a scout somewhere, but I don't know where it is. There it is. Okay. So you're taking sacred sites very early. That's actually a really good thing. That means that you can... Actually, I don't know if it's too early. It could probably have been earlier. But you're taking the sacred sites, trying to at least taking them early. And now you see he has 8 spearmen here. So if the spears are here, with French, you should always think about where can I then attack him. If his whole army's here, surely there's not a lot of army in his base, and that's right, there's 1 spearman. You could get in here and do a lot of damage. He has a front wood line, abuse that. Don't be running out here after 1 spearman. And then he gets his whole army together, and then you can't fight him, right? These guys will murder you. So when you see his army, all the spears, the whole counter unit, sits on this sacred side, you should go here. Another thing is the keep timing, right? You have the stone for it, you didn't build it. You need to build this keep much earlier, because the keep for French is an essential part of unlocking your civ bonus, right? So the moment you start aging up to Castle Age, you might start going on stone, and then that keep should come around quite early. Alright, let's see this micro. We've got +1, +2. So 2 ranged armor, 1 ranged attack. That's fine. I think in this situation, when you're dealing with these horsemen, it's kind of fine to... Yeah, you for sure need spearmen. He has so many horsemen here. Same amount of horsemen, pretty much, that you have knights. And they're just, like, 10% weaker than your knights, I would say. In this situation, you can't pressure. Why are we pressuring, right? What are we going to get from this attack? He's going to be able to just A-click us. We're going to lose all of our archers. And then that sacred side victory that you want to go for, that's gone. That's completely over. So you for sure need to make spears. Otherwise, he can just, like, do this. When you have knights, most of the answers lie in knights, archers, and spears. And that's gonna be what you need. But if you take fights like this, and now you're losing knights, and you didn't kill the spearmen before you sent in the knights versus Order of the Dragon, you're just not gonna be able to take any trades. So his destruction value is 3,000. That's how much army you just lost. Yours is 1,200. So that means that something went really, really wrong here. So we need those spearmen next time. And now we just charged into those Order of the Dragon spears, and then just going to be able to murder our knights. Now it's 3.45. I think the game's over at this point. He's been on 2GC for so long, his economy is taking over. Look at his income. It's so much more than yours. And you haven't had sacred sites. You weren't ever able to take them because of all of the Feudal Age mistakes that we talked about. And now you're too overeager to fight. Honestly, the game's over. I would just surrender here. I've made too many mistakes in the Feudal Age and Castle Age. and too late on so many things and too much idle time that I will just never be able to beat somebody who just sits with his fat farm economy in his base. That's just the nature of the game. It's just not going to happen. So try to understand how you set up the timings. I think it's something I've spoken about before. It's definitely so important when we talk about these timings that you do the setup part. That's 95% of the timing. So if you wanna get him to suffer from farming, you push the wood line, because then he can't access the deer, and then your aggression in the Feudal Age pays off. But if you go 5 knights, no archers, and allow him to just make spears and go castle, there will never be a good game here. The knights will never pay off. The knight is strong because it beats most units in low numbers, and you can micro it and get a lot of efficiency out of it. The knight is very weak when you play against Order of the Dragon and his hard counters, and you try to knight archer it. Even if this was a normal civilization, let's say he had about 12 spears and 12 archers, 12 horsemen for the fight. That would be 24 horsemen and 24 spears. That's still something you can't micro against with Knight Archer. You need the spears at that point. There is kind of a break point. The break point is probably around, 20 units of each. Then it's probably not that easy to micro it anymore, even for a very good player. Because Knight Archer into Horseman Spear. The Horseman Spear is the counter. It's the counter comp. But it only works if you have overwhelming numbers. Because then your opponent can't stutter step backwards and shoot you. So, definitely some issues there. Now we're getting a raid in. That's good. Probably a bit late. I would say the resource income, even if you kill 20 vills right now, it's not going to matter. Because the main factor is the farms are in, yours aren't. Because your farms are just coming in now. It's going to be very difficult. You have 2,700 in the guild hall. That's nice. Can we do something with it? I doubt it. I don't think that's going to save us here. Like, look at this. He has 6 Order of the Dragon Knights. That's 12 Knights plus another 18 Horsemen plus another... How much? 22 Spears. And you have 3 Knights here. And 30 Archers and another 6 Knights at home. So, if you were to play against this comp here, I would probably play Knight Archer Spear if I didn't lose my army early. And if I was in an equal economy position and I didn't have much army like you do right now, I would probably lean more into playing ARPs and Archers and Spears. Just because ARPs are so good with the melee deflection, right? They have so much melee armor through their unique upgrades. The Gambeson's giving 5 melee armor, and then you have another +3. And I think they have 1 armor maybe baseline. I might be wrong there, but it's like 8 or 9 armor. So they take almost no damage from regular non-counter units. Like the spears here, they would take 5 damage at pop. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, I'm not so sure there's a game much more here. I'm going to skip a little bit because we're just waiting for the opponent to realize that he has won the game. But he might just play it safe and go Imperial here, which makes sense as well. Since you could pop that guild hall pretty soon. You have 4k resources here. And if you pop that guild hall, it's pretty hard to push you, although he just has to make trebuchets. So it's a fight here. We have no armor piercing for the knights, so this is also not going to be a good fight. Yeah, it's a disaster, unfortunately, and it's game over. So yeah, thanks for the replay. I really enjoyed that. Hope you you learned something from it. And yeah. I will catch you guys over on YouTube in the next video. Let me know if you enjoyed this. And yeah, see you.